Welcome to Too Fond of Books. I'm Janelle, and this is another March Mystery Madness video. March is the third month of the year, and this is the third day of March. So I've got some mysteries here to show you that either have March in the name or 3, the number 3, or third in the title. So it was fun hunting around for these books, and I hope you find something in here that you will enjoy and want to pick up. But before we get into all of that, I need to give you the answer to yesterday's My March Mystery Madness Mindbender, which was: this writer has been named a Grand Master by the Mystery Writers of America and is most famous for his long-running series about a Boston private investigator. And the answer is Robert B. Parker. I have here his first book, the Godwulf Manuscript, and his last book, Silent Night, which was finished by his wife and his editor after he passed away a few years ago. So if you've never read any of the Spencer books, I encourage you to check them out. They're a very entertaining series about Spencer, the private investigator from Boston. So stay tuned to the end of this video where I will give you the next My March Mystery Madness Mindbender. But for now, let's get into these books. So first, I have a couple here by Colin Dexter from the Inspector Morse series. This is The Secret of Annexe 3, and this is The Riddle of the Third Mile. So The Secret of Annexe 3 is the 7th in the Morse series. There's 13 in that series, and this one was from 1986. The Riddle of the Third Mile is the 6th in the series and is from 1983. So these are a series set in Oxford. Inspector Morse is a detective in the police force there. And these are very entertaining. And of course they became a very long-running television series with John Thaw playing Inspector Morse. So check out the books if you've never read them. And I could also recommend checking out the television series as well. Next up, I have 3 from Rex Stout. Now, 3 Doors to Death, 3 Men Out, and Death Times 3. Now, in each of these cases, these are books that have 3 stories in the books. So I kind of feel like that gives me a bonus for these. They all have 3 stories. So they're a little longer than regular short stories, but probably a little shorter than a novella. So 3 Men Out is from 1954, and it's the 24th in the Nero Wolf series. Also a bonus, if you're looking for prompts and things for March Mystery Madness, Nero Wolf lives on 35th Street in New York City. 3 Doors to Death is from 1950, and in this one, the three cases are: a man unsuccessfully attempts suicide just before he is killed, a murder victim's family hides the identity of the killer, and horticulturalist discovers his girlfriend's body. This is the 17th in the Nero Wolf series, of which there were 47. So Nero Wolf is a private investigator who lives in New York City. He doesn't like to leave his house. He loves good food and orchids. And he has a faithful sidekick, Archie Goodwin, who does all the legwork for him. And then Death Times 3 is the 47th in the series. So this is the last book in the series from 1985. The 3 stories in here are Assault on a Brownstone, Frame Up for Murder, and Bitter End. Now, it would appear that Rex Stout really enjoyed doing these 3 stories in one book, because he also has Trouble in Triplicate, 1949, Curtain for 3, 1950, Triple Jeopardy, 1952, 3 Witnesses, 1956, 3 for the Chair, 1957, 3 at Wolf's Door, 1960, Homicidal Trinity, 1962, and Trio for Blunt Instruments from 1964. All right. Next up, we have The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 by John Godey. This is my husband's book. I've never read it, but I know he quite enjoys this. This is from 1973. Four men seize a New York City subway train and hold its passengers hostage. So this is more like a thriller, maybe a heist, but heists are usually a little more lighthearted than this appears to be. But anyway, The Taking of The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. Now, this was hard to find. I could only find one book that had March in the title. The rest of these are all going to be about the number 3. This is the only one I could find that had March in the title. This is March of Crime by Jess Lourey. It is a murder by month mystery, the 11th in the series of 12. She does one focusing on each month of the year. This is from 2017. It is set in Battle Lake, Minnesota, with an amateur sleuth called Mira James. And of course I had to do a Stephanie Plum, Janet Evanovich, 3 to Get Deadly. This is the third in a series of 26. This one was published in 1997. There is another one in the series set to come out sometime this year. Stephanie Plum is a bounty hunter who lives in New Jersey. This book won the Dillis Award for Best Book and was nominated for a Dagger Award for Best Novel. So the Stephanie Plum series are very entertaining. So a saintly old candy store owner is on the lam, and bounty hunter extraordinaire Stephanie Plum is on the case. As the body count rises, Stephanie finds herself dealing with dead drug dealers and slippery fugitives on the chase of her life. And with the help of eccentric friends and family, Steph must see to it that this case doesn't end up being her last. 3 to Get Deadly. Then we have Kate Kessler, 3 Strikes. This is the third in a series of 4. This was published in 2017. The main character is a criminal psychologist called Audrey Hart. And these are set in... You know what? I don't know where these are set. Possibly the United States. Criminal psychologist Audrey Hart is determined for once to stay out of trouble. But in her small hometown, trouble knows right where to find her. When a young woman shows up at Audrey's door with a plea for help and a dark question about the past, a past entangled with Audrey's own, the people of Edgeport think they should let sleeping dogs lie. Driven by her own demons, Audrey agrees to help, and the two go digging where they're not wanted. Soon, Audrey realizes that it doesn't matter how well you think you know someone, you don't know what they're capable of until the secrets they've buried are about to be exhumed. Now, this next series, when I found these, I first thought that they were... There we go. I first thought that they were a trilogy. 3 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 hours. But these are a set of Swedish crime novels. They are part of a larger series. So these were written by a writing team. And they are the Detective Superintendent Erwert Gren's series. 3 seconds is the 4th in the series from 2010. 3 minutes is the 6th in the series from 2017, and 3 hours is the 7th in the series from 2019. All titles in the series have numbers in them, but only these had the letter 3. 3 seconds, this one that I'm holding up, won the Swedish Academy of Crime Writers Award for Best Swedish Crime Novel 2009. So these are quite gritty, I believe, and so if you're interested, if you like Swedish crime novels, check these ones out. All right, The Third Victim by Phillip Margolin. Now this is the first in the Robin Lockwood series. There's 3 in the series so far. This was from 2018. It's a legal thriller. She is a young lawyer playing second chair to a defense attorney for the case in this book. A woman stumbles onto a dark road in rural Oregon, tortured, battered, and bound. She tells a horrific story about being kidnapped and then tortured until she finally managed to escape. She was the lucky one. 2 other women bearing similar burns and bruises were found dead. The surviving victim identifies the house where she was held captive, and the owner, Alex Mason, a prominent local attorney, is arrested. Although he loudly insists upon his innocence, his wife's statements about his sexual sadism and the physical damage found at the scene are damning. Regina Barrister is a legendary criminal defense attorney. Is that seriously her name? Her last name is Barrister? That's hilarious. Okay, moving on. She is known as the sorceress for her courtroom victories, but she's got a secret. One that threatens her skill, her reputation, and most of all, her clients. She's agreed to take on the seemingly impossible task of defending Alex Mason. Robin Lockwood, a young lawyer and former MMA fighter, has just left a clerkship at the Oregon Supreme Court to work for Regina. Or Regina, maybe? The Alex Mason trial is her first big one, a likely death penalty case, and she's second chair. Increasingly, she's worried both about her boss's behavior and the seemingly ironclad case against their client, one that even the fabled Regina Barrister might not win. Yet lurking in the details of the case is something that bothers Robin, something that might reveal a very chilling story. So if you like a good legal thriller, you might want to check out The Third Victim. And now we're going to delve into some historical mysteries. This is The Third Nero by Lindsey Davis. This is the 5th in the Flavia Albia series. There are 8 in that series so far. This one was published in 2017. So here's a prompt for your March Mystery Madness reads, because this is the 5th in the series. So maybe you'll want to pick this one up. It's set in ancient Rome, and Flavia is the adopted daughter of Marcus Didius Falco, which is another series, a character from another series that Lindsey Davis wrote, and there are 20 books in that series. So if you like historical fiction, if you're interested in ancient Rome, you might want to check out The Third Nero by Lindsey Davis. Flavia Albia's day-old marriage is in trouble. Her new husband may be permanently disabled, and they have no funds. So when palace officials ask her to help expose a plotter in their midst, she is obliged to accept their commission. The plot could not be bigger. Ever since he died in AD 68, apparently by his own hand, Rome has been haunted by reports that the Emperor Nero is in fact very much alive and about to return to claim his throne. 2 Nero pretenders have emerged in the east and meet grisly fates. But now, as the Emperor Domitian, whose tyrannical, paranoid reign grows ever more unpopular, fights a war in faraway Dacia, there emerges a far more sinister contender. What's more, the rumor is that this false Nero is already in Rome. Plunged into the conspiracy, Flavia must infiltrate the house of the Parthians, who have smuggled in this new impostor, negotiate with spies, dodge the assassins sent by the palace traitor, and somehow cope with her stricken husband. Another historical mystery, but very different from ancient Rome. This is Murder Takes 3 by Eric Brown. This is set in England in the 1950s. This is the 4th in a series of 7, and it was published in 2017. This is the Langham and Dupree series. Langham is a private investigator, and Maria Dupree is his fiancée. 1956. American movie star Susie Reynard is currently shooting a murder mystery film at Marley Hall, an Elizabethan manor house in the depths of the Norfolk countryside. The film's director, Susie's lover, has been receiving threats, and Susie is convinced his life is in danger. On arriving at Marling Hall with his fiancée Maria, private investigator Donald Langham finds the film set awash with clashing egos, petty jealousies, ill-advised love affairs, and seething resentments. And then a body is discovered in the director's trailer. It would appear to be an open and shut case when someone confesses to the murder. Donald and Maria are not convinced, but why would someone confess to a crime they have not committed? Murder take 3. And now for something very different. This is The Third Woman, Jonathan Freedland. This is a standalone from 2015. This is a near-future political thriller. LA Times journalist Madison Webb is the main character, and it takes place in Los Angeles. It has a great first line. It was the first day of January, and the new year was approaching. The first 2 murders went unnoticed. The third will change everything. She can't save her sister. She can't trust the police. She can expose the truth. Journalist Madison Webb is obsessed with exposing lies and corruption, but she never thought she'd be investigating her own sister's murder. Madison refuses to accept the official line that Abigail's death was an isolated crime. She uncovers evidence that suggests her sister was the 3rd victim in a series of killings hushed up as part of a major conspiracy. In a United States that now bows before the People's Republic of China, corruption is rife. The government dictates what the truth is. With her life on the line, Madison must give up her quest for justice or face the consequences. So if you like political thrillers, if you like near future types of stories, this one might be the one for you. James Patterson and Nancy Allen wrote Juror number 3. This is from 2018. It is a standalone. In a town divided by hate, who can you trust? This is set in Mississippi, and our main character is Ruby Bozarth. Ruby Bozarth, a newcomer to Rosedale, Mississippi, is also fresh to the Mississippi bar and is immediately tapped as defense counsel in a racially charged felony case. The murder of a woman from one of the town's oldest families has Rosedale's upper crust howling for blood, and the prosecutor is counting on Ruby's inexperience to help him deliver a swift conviction. Ruby's client is a college football star who has returned home after a career-ending injury, and she is determined to build a defense that will stick. She finds help in unexpected quarters from Suzanne Green, a hard-charging attorney armed to the teeth, and Shorty Morgan, a diner cook who knows more than he lets on. Ruby never belonged to the country club set, but she once nearly married into it. When the news breaks of a second murder, Ruby's ex-fiancé Lee Green shows up on her doorstep, a southern gentleman in need of a savior. As lurid intertwining investigations unfold, no one in Rosedale can be trusted, especially the 12 men and women impaneled on the jury. They might be hiding the most incendiary secret of them all. Juror number 3. Now this one I am super excited about, and I want to read this one soon myself. This is called 3 Graves Full by Jamie Mason. It is a standalone book. It is her debut novel from 2013. And one of the things that drew me to it is the first line. It's a memorable first line. There is very little peace for a man with a body buried in his backyard. More than a year ago, mild-mannered Jason Godey killed a man he wished he'd never met. Then he planted the problem a little too close to home. But just as he's learning to live with the undeniable reality of what he's done, police unearth 2 bodies on his property, neither of which is the one Jason buried. Jason races to stay ahead of the consequences of his crime, and while chaos reigns on his lawn, his sanity unravels, snagged on the agendas of a colorful cast of characters. A jilted woman searches for her lost fiancé. A fringe dweller runs from a past that's quickly gaining on him. And a couple of earnest local detectives piece clues together with the help of a volunteer police dog. all in the shadow of a dead man who had it coming. As the action unfolds, each character discovers that knowing more than one side of the story doesn't necessarily rule out a deadly margin of error. Three Graves Full, Jamie Mason. And then, last but not least, Three Marys by Glenn Cooper. This is from 2018, and it is the second in the Cal Donovan series. There are 4 in the series so far. Cal Donovan is a Harvard professor of religion and archaeology. Once again, Harvard professor of religion and archaeology Cal Donovan has been summoned by Pope Celestine to investigate a seemingly impossible miracle. Three Catholic teenage girls from different corners of the world have fallen pregnant. All 3 girls are named Mary, and all 3 girls have been proven to be virgins. Are they really all bearing the Son of God? Before Cal has a chance to visit all 3 girls, one of the Marys disappears, and then another. As he struggles to uncover the truth, Cal realizes that much more than his own and others' lives are at stake. Could this apparent miracle really cause the collapse of the Catholic faith? So if you like a good religious mystery, if you like, I don't know if the Vatican itself gets involved, but he is called upon by the Pope to investigate. So if this is your kind of mystery, you might want to check out Three Marys by Glenn Cooper. And before I say goodbye, it's time for the next My March Mystery Madness Mindbender. Here we go. This Matthew Shardlake novel by C.J. Sansom includes descriptions of Bethlehem Hospital. So, put your answers to the Mindbender in the comments down below. Also, let me know if you've read any of these books. I actually haven't read the majority of these books yet, so if there's any that you've read that you would recommend, let me know down in the comments below. Do any of these books look interesting to you? Are you interested in picking them up and reading them for yourself? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you for another video again tomorrow. Bye!